Here we are, Offsides, Week 3 of the playoffs. We're going to talk about the last 2 games in the playoffs. We have Randy here and Rolf here as usual, and let's go over the first game, which we called it probably the hardest hitting game we'll see this year. San Fran, Seattle. Absolutely great game. We knew it would be. Was decided by pretty much last minute heroics by the defense of Seattle, no less. But a number of dynamic stats here. Marshawn Lynch only averages 3 yards a carry without the 40-yard scamper. So San Fran did a pretty good job of keeping him in check.
Well, you knew they would. They were the top defenses in the league.
Right. They have a great defense, just as Seattle does. They did a great job there. But I think what we want to talk about is definitely the fourth quarter is where this pendulum...
It all went wrong for the Niners.
It did. Fast, too, right? I mean, we saw this team just crumble. And what happened in the fourth quarter? What did you guys see that really started swinging it the other direction?
Well, let me talk about the game first. Pete Carroll always said that their plan, he just stressed that he wasn't worried about their passing game. That's, their plan to play good defense and not turn the ball over.
Right.
Which is what they did.
They stuck to that.
They stuck to the plan no matter what happened. That was their plan.
Yep.
Colin Kaepernick, on the other hand, in the fourth quarter, turned it over 3 times.
Right.
You can't do that against and still try to win or still hope to win.
Still hope to win. Yeah.
At the end of the game, you just threw away 3 chances to go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, they still, even with 2 of those blunders, they did have a chance to win. They had marched down the field. It was just the last monumental error that he made throwing into double coverage in the back corner of the end zone. Yeah. Finally deciding to throw at Sherman, which made no sense. It's like, why would you throw at him at that crucial time?
Yeah.
But, for the most part, that San Francisco defense kept them in it.
Kept them in it.
And it's like, and San Francisco was moving the ball. When he didn't make mistakes early in the drives, he was moving the ball in that Seattle defense.
Well, just imagine if he didn't make those mistakes. If he took care of the ball, that's a different ballgame.
It's just a different ballgame. Yeah, I agree. And what I noticed is that it doesn't seem like, Kaepernick looks off of his first hot read. So like the interception that when he was throwing it to Bolden. That was clearly. You could see as soon as he drops back. He doesn't even look to see what's going on. He just throws it, and Seattle's standing literally right in front of Bolden.
Oh yeah, Cam Chancellor.
Waving his hands like, if you throw it this way, I swear I will catch it. I am wearing a different jersey, but I will catch it.
Kaepernick said he saw him, but he thought he could drop it right over him.
Is that what he said?
Yeah, that's what he said.
And I think that's where Kaepernick needs to kind of check himself. Like, you're good, but you're not that good. You're not going to throw the ball against the #1 rated defense and not expect they're going to just go out and knock out the ball. Especially when he's standing right in front. There's no dropping that ball anywhere. Yeah, you're just not throwing that ball. No. If you're any other quarterback in the league, was my take on it.
I was just waiting for him to say, I did it in Madden.
Right, or something like that, yeah. This happened on the McDonald's commercial or something like that, right? It was just, I saw that throw and I was like, what was he doing? And then the last one in the back of the end zone, obviously, for me, or any kind of quarterback, I would think, you throw it toward the outside, going out of bounds, on his outside shoulder, because where are the defenders? They're on the inside, and especially both of them. You throw it to where all your receivers going to get it. And I don't even know why you go after the number 1 guy on the defense. Why do you do that?
They wanted Crabtree because he's their tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I can see is they wanted to call a shot to Crabtree in the end zone, and maybe he goes up and makes a play.
This is also what goes back to Mike. Kaepernick gets it in his head, I'm throwing to this guy, he's just going to throw it to that guy.
Yeah.
And they even said that in a lot of the morning pregame shows. Kaepernick doesn't go through his progressions very well.
I don't think
he likes to focus in on one. If he thinks he can get it in there, he'll do it. If not,
he'll run.
Run around a little bit, and
he'll just take off running. I think.
Yeah. Right. So he's gonna have to get out of that mode real quick, because it's like, if you keep doing that, you are going to have a very short career.
Right.
Because he got away with a couple of passes that he
did get away with a couple.
They're bad reads, but he got away with them. And I think that makes him think he can do it.
Right.
That's the problem.
Right.
Is that he's getting away with it.
Right. Well, the touchdown throw that he had, which was, It was something. It was something out of like a video game. Like I was like, "What am I watching right now?" Because like he's mid-air, throwing the ball to Bolden and a bullet and touchdown. I'm like, "Hold on, did anybody see him like jump in midair and throw the ball? Yeah. Nobody does that, you know, and with accuracy.
Yeah,
I mean seriously,
it was great, but that's just not a throw that you want to make.
It's not regular. Well, no, you can't plan for that throw either. I mean, I'm going to have you on this play jump and throw it in midair. No, what? What is that? I mean,
well, and that's it's like every quarterback coach will tell you have to plant the back foot and throw and follow through and all that. They don't ever tell you jump, twist the body, and just fling it.
Fling it. I mean, obviously the man has power and he can fire that football. However, it's only going to get you so far in the NFL.
It's your decision making.
And it's your decision making. Now, if it was me, and Kaepernick had the great run that set up their first initial touchdown. If it was me, and I see that this might be a hole, why aren't you running more of like the option? You got Frank Gore, you got Cap. Obviously, he's running the ball on the Seahawks.
His his runs weren't coming from designed runs; they were coming from when he didn't buy.
It was broken, right? I understand.
And the defense was turning around,
running with the receivers. So maybe why don't you keep doing that then? Why don't you keep? I got 5 wide in the box, and then boom.
Yep.
Well, and this is my favorite part of all this. Remember last year how big the read option was? All these teams with these mobile quarterbacks were running the read option.
Right.
It vanished this season.
Right.
It's like every offense thought, the defense is going to catch on to this year, so we're just not going to do it.
Right.
The thing is, a guy like Kaepernick is strong enough to break some tackles. If you get him out there, and Gore is a pretty strong running back,
right.
You could still run that every once in a while and probably get some yards, or at least, keep the defense a little bit honest and keep them maybe a little bit up closer to the line. But
right.
I mean, they didn't seem to really stay dedicated to the run in any way, shape, or form.
Right.
And just started flinging it, and that's where Kaepernick, you're going to put it on his shoulders. He's still only a third-year quarterback. This is only his second-year starter, and he only started half of that first season.
Right.
So he's only basically got a little less than 2 seasons under it. He's still a kid in this game. And you're putting it all on his shoulders and say, you win the game for us. Whereas you look at Pete Carroll, he says, Marshawn Lynch, the offensive line, you guys win the game. Russell, do what you can, but if you can't do anything,
don't turn the ball over.
Don't turn the ball over and watch your passes to nowhere that are going to get you called for intentional grounding.
Right. Yeah, and that's what he needs to watch out for, and that'll definitely bite him. Is I'm running backwards 15 yards. I'm trying to make something happen. It could get him into more trouble than not. It's never worked in the NFL unless you were one man named Barry Sanders, who's the only one that could run back 10 yards and then gain 15 yards on the play.
But if you look at all of his plays throughout the season that he's done that, there's very few that he's actually not made or not gotten rid of the ball or gotten penalized for it. So I'll take that loss, every now and then. But he makes more plays doing that than anybody.
He does. But
you could have one. You could have one really bad game, and it might be the Super Bowl, where he gets called for a couple of intentional groundings, or he gets tackled way back there, and it's like you only have to have, and that could happen at the worst time. He's doing that a lot, getting away with it now, but it could hit him at the worst time, and the next game, could be the worst time for him, and you really don't want it to hit then.
Yeah, the dynamic of this game obviously is they're slippery quarterbacks. I mean, they're not pocket passers, so to sack them was almost an impossibility on both ends of the ball. But you definitely, they'll run for their lives, and that could help them, but it could also hinder them as well. So it's just an interesting game. Great game. Came down to the last wire. Defense pulled it out. Fantastic game. Seattle's going to the second Super Bowl ever. So it's pretty awesome.
Sherman's pretty excited.
And him being
he's very happy. Actually, he seemed very mad.
The way Sherman is, and it's a couple different ways. It's good and it's bad. It gets people talking about, Seattle. Maybe they don't care about football, but it gets them to talk about it. But it's also bad on the ends. You kind of like having someone humble where you're like, that's cool, that's awesome, So it's kind of like a bipolar situation, I guess. The best way I can,
I don't like what he said, but I like the fact that he's outspoken and he says what's on his mind. It's kind of refreshing. You don't get those. Everybody wants to be PC and say, every interview is the same. They're a great team. They're when they're talking about the other team.
It's a tough team. Tough win.
So it was a good win. It was a tough battle. I mean, this is entertainment. Richard Sherman is entertainment. You got people that don't follow the NFL talking about this now. I mean, Twitter and Facebook are blowing up about Richard Sherman. I mean, it's good. Right. I think it's good.
Well, they even had a tweet from Justin Verlander that said that if he had made any comments like that in a baseball game, the next one he would get would be high and tight towards the face. So, I mean, if Justin Verlander doesn't really like it, to me it didn't bother me a bit. I mean, it's like, but that's why they also give that 20-minute rule. Take 20 minutes to get all the emotion out before you do these interviews so that you don't say things like that. It doesn't bother me what he said, and I'm good with it. He just shows a lot of bravado, but it's like I think Erin Andrews was probably taken back quite more than anybody.
Well, as soon as he started talking, she was like, give me this back. Give me this back. Back to you at the Espen Studios.
It's like, but here's the thing. You say you want the guy who, that's a little bit outlandish and a little bit humble. You have it in two different people. You have it in Sherman. Your humble guy is Russell Wilson.
Yeah, Russell Wilson.
So you've got it both ways on that
As much as I love Russell Wilson,
he's
a boring interview. It's a boring interview. I mean, Richard Sherman's interview was way more entertaining to watch. Right. And people are going to want to tune into that now for Super Bowl week. I mean, they're going to want to see what he says.
They're going to want to see what he says.
It's WWF with him.
Someone get him some duct tape. Okay, all right, next game is going to be the Denver Broncos and the Patriots. And absolutely something that we were talking about as far as, will the Broncos come out firing? Will they do more kind of control the clock? What are they going to look like? And how was the Patriots going to look? Brady doesn't lose to Manning. I mean, it's statistically shown that Brady has Manning's number. And in this situation, it didn't go that way at all. And we saw a different quarterback plays from both of them. We also saw a decent ground game from the Broncos, not bad. And we also saw a no ground game from the Patriots. Yep. To me, it seemed like the Patriots played exactly the way the Broncos wanted them to play. In order to beat them, it seemed like they were like, look, we're going to stop your run, force you to throw the ball to who, and go from there.
That's what we said last week, that you needed to stop that run because Tom Brady didn't have anybody to throw the ball to.
Right. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, Brady still threw it to 6 different receivers. Manning threw it to 8, but obviously his stats, 277 for Brady, 400 for Manning. 1 touch for Brady running and throwing, and then 2 for Manning. Game was just pretty much lopsided until you got to the fourth quarter, though. I mean, we really didn't see a lot from the Patriots until the Denver defense decided to only rush 2 linemen and drop everyone back in coverage.
I love that prevent defense.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Let the team back in by all means. And so it's interesting to see this game and how the Broncos have matured as far as defensively. I mean, on stats, they're not exactly the top defense. When it comes to statistics throughout the year, they're not considered one of the meanest defenses like Seattle is, or like San Fran is. But yet they've been playing pretty good, Randy. They've been playing pretty good against the run and not bad against the pass. I mean, you let Brady score his first touchdown in, the fourth quarter? It's a pretty good game. Pretty good game.
Well, and it's like I've said this. It's like without Von Miller, it seems like that defense. Von Miller. Don't get me wrong. Great pass rusher.
Right.
Very good linebacker. One of the elite. But it seems like the defense plays better when you don't have that one guy that everybody can focus in on. Right. You know that it's like if Von Miller's out there and it's a 3rd and long, number 58's coming. You can block him. You have 2 guys over there. Maybe a running back chips him at the end.
Yeah.
Now it's like Del Rio is scheming well, and it's like when the first 6 games, we weren't considered a bad defense. Nobody was really looking at the Denver defense going, that defense is horrible.
Right.
It wasn't until Von Miller kind of came back into this, and, we started to look pretty bad. But it's like once Von Miller went back out again, we started to look stout. Right. I mean, we're not as good as Seattle. We're not as good as San Francisco. Right. But we're not 26th in the NFL.
Yeah.
And I really feel like, Del Rio does a better job of coaching the defense and scheming the defense when Von Miller's not in there. And that's why the defense has looked good the last few weeks.
Right. Denver's pass defense is actually 27th in the NFL.
I was going for overall. I didn't know the number. So I was just guessing. I thought, we're like 23rd on the run.
It's pretty close. But, I mean, was it part of our plan to knock out their best cover corner in the beginning of the game?
It looked like it was a called play.
Right.
I don't know if their plan was to knock him up, but it looked like it was a called play to run Welker right into him.
Into him?
He made no I think he was looking right at him and made no attempt to move out of the way.
Right. It looked like he was just coming up to pick him.
Yeah.
To pick him
I don't
up.
know. I don't know if the plan was for John Fox or Case or whatever to sit there and go, look, I'm going to take Wes Welker, my smallest receiver with concussion problems, and I'm going to smash him into a defensive. I don't think that was the plan. They were probably just hoping he would rub and not smash. So I think
somewhere he can't hear in that massive helmet of his.
I think Talib got in his way. I think Talib, if he would have kept running maybe a different direction, it would have been a rub. But Talib just ran right in Welker's path. I blame Talib for his injury.
Well, I think some Patriot fans would disagree with you there.
Well, no Patriot fans are watching this, so I'm not worried about what they think.
But obviously, for the Broncos to win this game, they did exactly what they needed to do: limit that team to run the ball. And since the Patriots got so far behind, they only ran it 16 times. The whole game, 16 times. They combined, they didn't go over 100 yards. And they did exactly what they needed to do in order to win this game. You force it on Tom Brady. Force him to throw the ball to whoever and see what you can do. And it worked. It just played into the perfect scheme of things, so to speak.
You had to dare him to pass because if they were running it, you wouldn't have as good of a game. I mean, it would be crazy.
Yeah.
Well, but I mean, the thing is, it's like I said that LeGarrette Blount was not going to be a factor. It's like he was not, because it's like the whole season he was not a factor. He was a factor for like 2 games.
These last 2
and
games.
Everybody was saying, "Oh, LeGarrette Blount is, that is
the Winnebago's going to come out and destroy the Broncos."
That's the next Earl Campbell right there. No, he was just he had 2 really nice games, and he was done.
Now the changes for the Niners and the Pats in order to get to the Super Bowl. What changes to? Let's talk about the Niners. What do they need to do in order to get there?
There's not a whole lot they need to do. Maybe better coaching for Kaepernick because he needs to make better decisions.
Okay.
Maybe a true number one wide receiver because I think Bolden's not a number one. Crabtree.
Boulder's he's toward the end of his career, so to speak, and Crabtree's he's okay.
Yeah.
I don't consider Crabtree an elite wide receiver.
No, I don't either, and neither does Richard Sherman.
Yeah, obviously.
He's mediocre.
He's mediocre. Yeah. So a wideout and
maybe some defensive backs.
Maybe some DBs.
Yeah. But otherwise,
their DBs are probably their weak point on their defense.
But they're still better than most.
I'll tell you right now, I get their team is probably about 25 defenses in the NFL who would take their cornerbacks
over what they have.
Over what they got.
Yeah.
I'd take a couple of them over some of what we got.
Right. Over the Broncos.
I'd definitely take them over what we have.
Yeah.
It's like Green Bay would take the whole secondary.
The Packers, yes.
Well, how about the Pats? In order to get there, what do they need to do to get to the Super Bowl next year?
They need some help on offense.
They need to get younger. That team is getting old. And
fast.
Tom Brady is the reason that team is starting to get old. We watched him in that game. He did not look sharp.
He looked worried, actually. Whenever I saw him, it looked like he was concerned. I mean, he overthrew his receivers.
It looked like he was still sick.
Right, because I heard he did have the flu. Right.
Yeah,
and somebody was saying, it's like, Tom, you got to remember, you're at altitude. You haven't played here in Denver in years. It's like the ball travels further when you throw it that hard.
It does, yeah.
But my receivers have less air. So
yeah, it's like they should be able to run faster and jump higher.
Right.
But it's like, remember, they're all little.
They're all little receivers. You're thinking wideouts then?
I'm thinking wideouts. Gronk's got to stay healthy. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a whole different offense when Gronk's there.
It is.
But here's the thing.
You
can't count on Gronk to stay healthy.
Yeah.
So far, the last, 2-3 years, he has not been a healthy
player.
He has not been healthy. So do you go out and pick up another tight end? Is that your first round?
I don't think it would hurt because that's when they had Gronk and Hernandez, and that was a great tandem.
That was a great tandem. Yeah.
But the thing is, we've seen this. It's like the Patriots, as long as they have somebody for Brady to throw to, Brady will find him. When they had Welker with Moss, he was throwing everything to wide receivers. He wasn't throwing anything to tight ends.
It really doesn't matter. As long as you have something. They don't have anything right now.
Yeah, they don't have any. And I'm sorry, Amendola, Edelman, they are nothing right now. He needs a real wide receiver. Right. I don't know who's a free agent out there wide receiver-wise.
But they got to pick someone
But they better find somebody who can who can catch a football and is a little bit bigger than 5'2".
Yeah, I agree. I agree totally. All right. Well, next week we'll be talking about, the Super Bowl, which we have been calling for weeks on end. Seattle and Denver. We will see you guys next week. Thanks for joining us. We're out.